Hey everybody, this is Doug Vermeeren. I'm here representing Samira's network. I'm so excited to be with you guys today, but not just because I get to represent Samira's network, which is great, and the Luxury Gala, and if you haven't attended, you certainly need to, because the guests there are fabulous, but they don't just stop on the red carpet. We actually get them in person, and we get a chance to interview them so you can see behind the scenes who these people are, what they're all about, what makes them tick, how they got started, and what they can do for you. So today, I'm super excited. I have a really special friend with me as a guest. I'm just going to give you a quick little bio, but we're going to get into her story from her lips right direct to you. So this is Vivian Ralena Williams, and she is a motivational speaker. She's one of my favorite motivational speakers because she has a, how should we say, motivation with a twist. You see, most people, they're sharing, these loud, you can do it, jump up and down from the stage, get you dancing, high-fiving, and all these kind of crazy activities that I think sometimes we miss. The real change takes place in our hearts. And so rather than doing this big dramatic stuff, she can do that, by the way, because she was a cheerleader. We'll get into that in a minute. Rather than doing the big dramatic stuff, one of the things that impresses me most about this woman is she brings us right back to the core of where change happens, the heart. Thanks for being with me today, Vivian.
Thanks, Doug.
Cool. So I'm so excited to have you here. First of all, maybe what we should do is have you talk to the audience a little bit. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in this and a little bit about your journey that led you to being a speaker and a powerful one at that.
Yes, of course. So I started my career as a professional cheerleader and dancer. I was a choreographer. I traveled all over the world with a high-end cover band, and I loved every single minute of it. And it was a little bit bad on my mental health because I was a part of some reality shows that were a little hard for me to be on, just because they kind of picked on me, not gonna lie. And it threw me in a spiral. And I did not know that mental health was so important. And I found out.
That's an interesting thing that you say that. And I think that this is something that a lot of people do struggle with because we've got so many outside voices coming to us that often bully us into disbelieving who we are or maybe doubting ourselves. Sometimes maybe even, in a setting like a reality show, it's an environment that seeks to create drama. And maybe even some of the viewers here have families like that or workplaces like that or others around them. Tell us a little bit about how you managed to find yourself and also be true to yourself in those difficult settings. That's an interesting question.
Well, that was the problem. I lost myself in those settings. I was told not to be as much me, if that makes sense. I was supposed to fit into a uniform. I was supposed to weigh a certain way, look a certain way, do certain things, not speak up when I'm not supposed to speak, and just, kind of shrink down a little bit more. I loved my experience. It was incredible, but it was also equally difficult because I felt like I started to hate myself for the first time, and I never did that before. I was bullied as a kid, and I still loved myself. I was like, you know what? I'm brunette. I'm ugly. I'm just weird. It's fine. Those were my labels that I put on myself, and I didn't care. But when I went into this world where all these gorgeous women we're constantly judged and told that we're not good enough, no matter what we weigh or do. Yes, sometimes we are good enough, but then it's like, well, wait, tomorrow you better be good enough too, or tomorrow you better not gain a pound, or all of these different things that really prevented me from truly loving myself in the moment and in that space.
It's interesting that you say that, and I think there's a lot of people maybe viewing this that can empathize with those kind of feelings that they've had in the past where they didn't feel good enough or they felt maybe that they were singled out or bullied or picked on for either physical attributes or the way that they were or the way they interpreted the world. So you said that you felt those things. How did you overcome those feelings and find yourself again?
Well, it was difficult because it didn't just happen overnight. It took a lot of self-sabotage, a lot of pain, a lot of tears, a lot of just wanting to give up and finding myself at the bottom of my barrel and being like, I used to be up there. I don't know why. I don't like it down here as much. And I woke up one day and realized that I didn't want to live a mediocre life, especially when I had been living such a fun, glamorous, exciting life. Because we all deserve to live the lives that we want to live. And if you are struggling with mental health right now, if you're going through a tough time, reach out to a friend. Ask somebody for help. I didn't, and it threw me back a couple years. I learned a lot of good lessons, but if I were to have taken the time to ask somebody that I love, hey, I'm really struggling. Maybe I wouldn't have sabotaged some relationships, personal romantic relationships. Maybe I wouldn't have acted like everything was okay, because it wasn't okay. I wasn't okay. And it's okay to not be okay. You just gotta admit it to yourself, accept it, in order to get to being okay again.
First of all, thank you for not giving up. And I'm also grateful that you're being vulnerable with our people here today, because this is not not an easy conversation. This is a difficult conversation to have. Mm-hmm. So I understand that now you're doing a lot of speaking about these things to help other people who are also going through the same things. Mm-hmm. And you've also got some really exciting news with the books coming up. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yes. So I am finishing up 2 books. The first book is a motivational, daily, inspirational quote book of all my work that I've done so far on social media and in my personal life. I've been writing since I was a little girl, and I've always wanted to be a writer. So this book is called Hey You, and it's just like hey, you got this. Let's get her done. An encouraging kind of book that makes you feel happy when you read it.
Well, I can say, sorry to interrupt, but I can just tell you that I've had a chance to look at some of those quotes. And speaking from personal experience, this is a lot to do with how Vivian and I met, in fact. There's some very powerful stuff that you're sharing and some things that are life-changing. And although, I could ask you, share your favorite, and I'll share my favorite. But the truth of the matter is, I think that as people read these, they'll discover their own favorite. And there's many of them. Mm. So there's not just one of these ideas and quotes that has affected me personally and changed my life personally, but there's many of them. So it's interesting because at the top of this interview, you remember I said that there's some speakers that say, rah, 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 you can do it, and it's a motivational speech. Mm-hmm. These really aren't what those quotes are. Again, these are ones that I can tell that you've put a lot of thought in them, and they've also come from your experience, your pain, yes, but also your victories and your discoveries that you've made. And I've done a lot of work, as most of you who know me, in the personal development space. And, I'm personally the author of over 12 books myself. And I've seen countless speakers. I can't even tell you how many. But I have to confess that as I touched your material, it's got a very special feel about it. And there's something there that I really haven't seen anywhere else. So just pausing on that book of Hey You, that's how you say it, get your attention. Say it again, hey you, like that, right?
Well, I start a lot of my videos saying, hey you.
Right, to get your attention. But I'll tell you, where she really gets the attention is that they are very deep. They're very profound thoughts that I feel like, quite frankly, I like to say, when things happen in my life that shifts everything, it's a hinge. I found a hinge. All of your quotes are hinge. They open the doors for a new level of thinking. Mm-hmm. And just quite frankly, I haven't seen that before to that depth. So congratulations on your work with that. Tell us about the other book that you're working on as well, which I think is also equally as important to so many people.
Of course. And thank you so much for that, Doug.
It's truth.
I appreciate that. My second book is called Thank You for Breaking Me, because I believe gratitude is the cornerstone of living an amazing life. And when you come to the point where you can thank somebody for any reason at all, even if it's breaking you down, then you are winning at life. You are succeeding. You are overcoming. You can easily say thank you for, having me today on this podcast. Thank you so much for buying me dinner or for spending time with me. But to say thank you for breaking me, that means you have gratitude for the experiences that you had with that person. and what you both gained and learned from it, which is something that is unique to every single relationship. This book goes into how to heal your broken pieces and how to put those pieces back together again in a way that's more beautiful than you would have ever been if you were never broken. So it helps you heal those wounds that came from romantic relationships and gets you back in the game to either start a new romantic relationship or just focus on yourself for a little bit. Because I love love, but in my life right now, I'm in a place where I'm just like, I want to be just chilling, on my own and love myself completely. I believe that I will have a husband someday. I truly believe that. And I think that relationships are so important. But one of those things that you have to do in order to get a really wonderful and loving relationship is to love yourself first and foremost, and to respect yourself with all of your heart, and to give yourself the space, the energy, the time, and the knowledge and know-how that you need personally. Because some traumas take years to overcome and heal, and you're not on anyone's timeline. You're on your timeline.
I think it's interesting. For those of you who know some of my work, you'll know that we did a documentary a few years ago called The Gratitude Experiment, where we really wanted to see if there was a difference in people's lives when they began to express and experience gratitude. In fact, ultimately on the title of the DVD, we said gratitude is the spark that changes everything. But what you said right now really makes a lot of sense to me, having studied gratitude. This idea of starting with yourself, and gratitude flows, everything expands. Gratitude, how should we say, it expands everything that it touches. And so if you want better relationships, if you want more abundance in your life, if you want to have better connections with siblings and family members and everything, spirituality, and again, most importantly with yourself, it all begins with gratitude. One of the big lessons that you reminded me of just now that we learned when we did that movie was the difference between something called gratitude for and gratitude in, or ingratitude, if you will. And gratitude for is those things that are on the checkbox, like you said, taking me out for dinner and doing nice things for me, and you're grateful for how much is in your bank account, and that your kids are behaving today, and that you've got a nice car, and you've got all these wonderful things in your life. But the truth of the matter is that's actually conditional gratitude. So if those things are taken away, if you don't have that money for a while in your life, or the kids aren't behaving today, or your car, I don't know, got towed, or you're in an accident, or other things aren't going perfectly right, your gratitude diminishes because they're based on that. And that means that you've given your power away, right? It's not internal, it's away. But you pointed out something really interesting, that sometimes whether you're not ready for a romantic relationship or you're not dialed into outside things, forcing, to feel and be a certain way, that if you just pause and find that internally, that gratitude inside, that suddenly you've got a power that, quite frankly, nothing outside you can take away.
Exactly.
And I think that's where you're truly empowered. So I love that concept. So tell me a little bit about how you're using gratitude in your life today, which I think is, I know a little about this lady, so I know she practices gratitude, and kind of some of the daily things that maybe someone at home could try that would help them find greater peace if they're suffering right now from any of these challenges.
Yes, of course. Well, I start my day with gratitude. Every morning, unless I have to be somewhere specifically at a specific time, I allow myself to wake up whenever I wake up. It's around 7, 8-ish every morning. And when I wake, I thank God, the universe, and everyone in my life for my life. Because everyone has contributed to make this life of Vivian the way that it is, that is in my life right now. So I thank everybody, I thank God, and when I'm doing that, I'm usually making a little bit of noise, or, I don't know, my energy shifts, and my little cat, Ezekiel, I call him Taziki or Zeke. His name means strength of God. I was going through...
We should pause and talk about what your name means. We'll do that in a second. I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead, keep going.
So his name means strength of God, and I found him the very day I went through my last breakup. I was supposed to go to see my sister because I was a bawling mess, just crying my eyes out, just like, it's over. I didn't think this was going to happen, blah, 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 blah. And we're on FaceTime, and she's like, what is what is outside of my door? There's this little kitten that won't stop crying. He's been outside for like 30 minutes. And I was like, maybe it's my kitty. I was just bawling because I was used to my ex's fur babies being all around me all the time and me snuggling up to them, and I was just really getting used to fur babies. And I had a dog, a family dog before, and she had passed. 2 family dogs. I was just closer to one of them. And that dog helped me through all of my breakups. Every time I went through a breakup before, Lucy was there to just lay her little head on me. And I walked through the door of my sister's house, and she let the little kitten in, and he just immediately flocked to me, and he was just glued to me since day one. I took him home, and we've been... Oh, he's just my little baby. He gave me so much strength. Yes, we've been together ever since. And I really think he's a blessing. I didn't think I was going to be a cat mom, but, you know.
It happens.
Things happen.
Well, it's kind of interesting that there are these special miracles that happens along the way. And we talked about gratitude, and the funny thing is the word gratitude is related to the word grace. And sometimes things just gracefully come into our life, and we're attracting things and people and support and friends, family, other relationships, other connections, and all these things. So we can be grateful. I did promise I would tell you what Vivian means because we looked this up together. Obviously, it comes from the root which means life or life flowing. But I think the thing that's kind of interesting is there's 2 other kind of things that I saw. Is rays of the morning was another one, which you certainly bring sunshine into the lives of people, but also that you're a messenger. And I think that that's an interesting thing, is that the truth of the matter is not all angels live in heaven. Some are among us. You've probably had friends that have brought you special gifts and messages and blessings that have helped you cope with situations in your life. And I want to, again, share that I think what Vivian's doing for her work is fantastic. So I'm going to just encourage us in closing that you would reach out to Vivian if you need support with these kinds of things. And where can they do that?
You can find me on social media, on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Facebook. I am Vivian Ralena, Vivianralena. And just shoot me a follow, shoot me a message if you're struggling. I always try to scroll through my messages and respond to the most sincere or business-focused messages because I get a lot, and I can't respond to every single one.
It's social media.
I can't do all of them, but I really try to do the most sincere. I don't know if I finished that last question that you asked me.
Sure, go ahead.
But he meows outside of my door until I open it, and then we cuddle for 5 minutes, and then I continue to pray and meditate in the morning. And that's how I practice gratitude every day. And then I pray at the end of my night in gratitude for the day and everything that's happened, even if I had a not so great day, because I think those make the great days even better.
100%. And prayer is important. I think that's something that we all should do. So again, if this is something that you resonate with, I encourage you to reach out to Vivian. But I'm also going to remind you from the Luxury Gala and Samira's network that if you want to run into people like Vivian who can help you with whatever you're trying to accomplish in your life, this is a great network to be part of. So reach out to Samira, reach out to the network. You can find out what's coming up next on the calendar year and make sure you're there. We'd love to see you. And until next time, stay blessed.
Yeah.